Let's go to the next slide. Watch this. Now we're going to go into, we got to clear up with this Latino and Hispanic thing. I got to go into this. The term Latino was officially adopted in 1997. 1997.
That's crazy.
I mean, I don't know if anybody sees the word Latin in there. Like Latin, if you're a Latino, you should be speaking Latin. You know, you should be saying words like Niger and, you know, different types of words like that. And it says, okay, by the United States government, of course, you know, truly yours, in the etymon Hispanic or Latino, which replaced the single term Hispanic. So, you know, we no longer Hispanics, we Latinos now. They replaced the term, they say, okay, and because regional usage of the term differs, Hispanic is commonly used in the eastern portion of the United States, whereas Latino is commonly used in the western portion. So Mexicans in New York, you know what I'm saying? Hispanics. If you're a Mexican in the West Coast, California, Latino. SA, you know what I'm saying? You Latino, you know what I'm saying? And U.S. officials use the term Hispanic has its origins in the 1970 consensus. Now, the Consensus Bureau attempted to identify all Hispanics by the use of the following criteria in sample sets: Spanish speakers and persons belonging to a household where Spanish is spoken. So you're falling under the term Hispanic because if you speak Spanish and person belonging to a household that speaks Spanish, you are Spanish. I speak English. And I know I'm not from the Royal Crown, Europe. You understand? I'm waiting to get my Royal Crown because I speak English. I want to be able to, you know, go over there and say, look, I speak English. I'm part of the royal family. And since when does a language identify your nationality? A person with Spanish heritage or by birth location. Okay, so now I say, okay, you can either speak the language, right? That will make you Spanish. Somebody in your family knows how to speak it, so you Spanish now. Now, it's saying this, a person by Spanish. So now, you can either speak the language, or somebody in your family speaks the language, or you got to be from Spain, and then you could be a Hispanic or Latino. And then now it says, a person who self-identify with Latin America, excluding Brazil. Now, this is the funny thing about Brazil. Neither Hispanic or Latino refers to race. A person of Latino Hispanic ethnicity can be of any race. Okay. Like, non-Latinos and Latinos can be of any race combination of races. White, Caucasian, blacks, Asians, Native American. Because remember, according to this, if you're going to be black, American, as long as you speak the language, you're a Latino. You're a Hispanic. While Brazilian Americans are not included with Hispanics and Latinos in the government. Now, I know Brazil, they speak Portuguese. They speak some sort of Spanish. But they're not part of it. But in America, anything could go. You could self-identify yourself as Latino or Hispanic, you'll be there. If your mama speaks Spanish, you could be Spanish. Or if you belong to somebody, your uncle speaks Spanish, you could be Spanish. Or your third, fourth cousin from your aunt, sister, uncle side, something like that. Next slide. So according to what we read, we could conclude that we are Hispanic Latinos because we are born in Spain, or we belong to a household that speaks Spanish, or we self-identify ourselves like Latino. Who want to be Latino today? Raise your hand.
I'll be it today. Just for today.
Just for today? Okay, so you Latino. All right. ¿Cómo estás? Bien? Bien. Good. And if we are born in Brazil, we can't be Hispanic unless we move to America and self-identify ourselves as Hispanic Latinos. Confusing, right?
Pretty much.
That sounds like the whole African thing that we went by.
Yep.
So this is on both ends. This is on so-called black people, and I say so-called because, you know, yesterday we was Negroes, before that we was colored, before that we was niggas, Negroes, you know what I'm saying? And with them, they don't, you know, you could ask a Hispanic whether they Spanish or Latino, and they'll look at you like, huh? I'm both. You know what I'm saying? And I could just tell them, well, you know, I'm a Hispanic too, because I know how to say como estas. According to this, that's what it's saying. Next slide. The unknown history of Latino lynchings. As you see here, obviously these brothers look pale. You might think that they look Caucasian, but they're actually Puerto Ricans here getting hung. These are your Mexicans here getting hung because this is more of a darker picture. So this is the unknown history of Latino lynchings. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. You know, the Law of the Noose, a history of Latino lynchings by Richard Delgado. The following is a summary and analysis of the Harvard Civil Rights, Civil Liberty Law Review article, Law of the News, the History of Latino Lynching by Richard Delgado. Delgado attempts to shed light on a largely unknown history of Latinos, particularly Mexican Americans in the Southwest U.S., who were lynched between the years of 1846 and 1925. This is roughly the same time that many blacks were lynched in the U.S. So this was happening simultaneously. You see that? You know, it's not even about a skin complexion thing. They try to mix it. Well, you know, you're a lighter person, a darker person. Regardless, if you fell in those categories of being black, so-called Hispanic, Latino, African American, or whatever they want to call us tomorrow, you was getting lynched. Well, many known of the omnious, bear with me, because I'm in horrific fate that blacks and African Americans saw in the U.S. Few know of the lynching that Latinos were met with. Delgado challenges scholars and institutions by trying to unveil the truth on this shameful past while exploring the history of these lynchings and explaining that English-only movements are a present-day form of lynching. Although research on Latinos lynching is relatively new, because they kind of like held it down because they didn't really want you to see the light-skinned type folks getting lynched, because they was from a different. They knew that they were different folks, even though they looked light-skinned, it had nothing to do with that. It says it was around 2006 and 2009 they started to uncover these Hispanic lynchings. So they kind of kept it on the low. So, lynchings have a deep-rooted history. Such acts can be described as mob violence where persons are murdered, changed for an alleged offense, usually without a trial. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to jump down to, okay, it says, the grim fate of blacks and Mexicans in the U.S. was intertwined. Both groups were lynched by Anglos, and we know what Anglos is, Anglo-Saxon, anybody who is of Britain, America, the royal crown, for reasons such as acting uppity. So you were acting uppity, that's why, you know, blacks and Hispanics got lynched. You was taking jobs, just like today they say the Mexicans is taking jobs, that's why y'all getting lynched, and always from, and jobs away from the Anglos, making advances towards Anglo women. So you were trying to take their wife, and that's why you got lynched. Cheating at cards, you got lynched for cheating at cards. Practicing witchcraft, got killed for that. And refusing to leave land that whites coveted. You don't know what coveted means. Mm-hmm. You stolen. Mm-hmm. Next slide. Okay. Yeah, we read that. Next slide. Okay. So I thank everybody for their patience. This was pretty much, you know, we came to a conclusion that we covered the term African, we covered the term black, we covered the term Negro, Latino, Hispanics, and who agrees that we any of those terms here? Nobody believes that we Latinos?
I'm human. That's it.
Anybody believes that we African? So we clear on that these were terms that were eventually thrown and used to label us. All right? Let me get a hand clap for that if we know that. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to pass it. Thank you for your time. I'm going to pass the mic back to the brother Hazak, and we're going to get more deep into it. Stay tuned.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Moses. This thing on?
Yeah.
All right. So obviously, as you guys can see, none of us in here is a nigger, okay, or a Negro, or African American, or black, because we've seen all the horrible definitions that's related with the word black or the term black. So now we're going to go into this. The miseducation equals loss of identity. All right? So these so-called scholars have labeled us all these different terms, which were intended to hide our true identity. Can everybody agree with that? Because if you have all these different terms, how can you identify who you really are? You understand what I'm saying? Exactly. So if we leave it up to them to teach us about ourselves, we have learned nothing as a people. History has taught us that we were sold into slavery, right? We were oppressed as a people. We were robbed of our culture, our land. We were segregated against, right? We were called niggers. This is what history is teaching us, right? And we were poor, and we have no culture. We are here today to let you know that our history didn't start here in America. A lot of people think that our history was, they teach us in the textbooks, okay, you guys came off these slave ships and you guys are here. You worked on plantations and here you guys go. So we're here to tell you that our history didn't start here in America. All right? The school textbooks cannot show us who we are and why we are in these conditions. And most importantly, we're here to show you who you are. Sorry about that. Let's not push this aside any longer. What happened to our people all over the world was wrong. Can anybody agree to that?
Yeah, I agree.
All the lynchings, all the segregation, everything what happened to our people, we can all here agree that that was wrong, right?
Correct.
All right. And what happened to our people all over the world was wrong, and we need the answers to why we have accepted this for so long. You know, we just keep it in the back burner, right? That back burner, sorry, right? We have found one record that explains our condition, and we're here to show it to you because a lot of like we said earlier, a lot of these school textbooks can't really show us our history. It doesn't, like, for some reason when they teach us history in school, it don't go past slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one could ever tell us what we were before we even got on these slave ships.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right.
So now we actually found one record. All right, believe it or not, that actually shows us the parallel to our history and our condition. Next slide. All right. Next slide. Okay. See this picture right here? Can anybody tell me who this picture is? Or what the name says? It says Saint Moses, right?
Yep.
All right, so it says here, during the time of Moses, right, there was a particular group of people that were given instruction from God. Does anybody know that history? Just a little bit? All right, well, if this group of people, so it says here, if this group of people followed these instructions given to them from God, that they would be blessed. This particular group of people would be ruling the earth until now if they follow the instructions from God. Let's see the history concerning these people and what would become of them. Next slide. All right, so this slide is titled The Origin of Our Pain. I'm going to have this brother read. Just turn it on. And so the top, it says, the choice is yours. All right? So go ahead. You can start reading. You can start reading that first slide.
It says the origin. Testing. The origin of our pain. I'm going to look at the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verses 1 and 2. And it shall come to pass. And
wait, before he starts reading, this was actually the instructions that was given to the people, to God's people, that he said, if you follow me, if you keep my instructions, this will be given to you. So go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God shall set thee on high above all nations of the earth, and all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee.
So it says there that if they follow the instructions that was given to them by hand from God, that they would be high, or they would be blessed above all the nations on the earth, meaning these people would be ruling, or would be the top people and to be revered. And everybody know through media what people are ruling right now, what people you see all over magazine, what people you see over media, the Caucasian race. So right now they have what you call the position of power right now. So read the next slide. Read the next one.
Now we go to verse 15.
So right here, this is what that's like. You know, all right. Everybody understands if you have a kid, right? You teach your child right from wrong. If you do this, I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna give you an allowance. But if you don't do this, you ain't gonna get nothing. So it's basically the same thing that God was telling Moses to tell the people. If you follow what I say, if you follow my commandments, this is what you will receive. And if you don't follow my commandments, this is what you will receive. So go ahead and read the part what you would not receive.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 15.
Go ahead.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So we have the do's and don'ts. We have the blessings if you follow the commandments, and now you have the curses if you don't follow the commandments. So now we're gonna go down to some of the curses, and we're gonna see some more of the origin of our pain. Go ahead. Next slide. So you can see this picture here. See the shabby looking house right here with slaves over here. You got the projects over here. You guys know what this is, right? Cotton field, right? Got some hungry people. Look, that's just the condition of our people. So read that. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 28:16 and 17. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
So he said, cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. And he said, cursed shall be the basket, your basket and thy store, meaning your food, what you bring home. So we see here, this is actually, this is a picture that we taken down of people from Haiti. Right here, everybody know this is the capital over here with the statue right there. So he said that these things would happen to his people. All right? And this is not something that we learned in school. All right? And what we're actually trying to show here is the origin of where this is coming from. Why is it that our people is in such a condition like that? There's a reason for that. You understand? Next slide.